I think oftentimes when there's tension in an organization, whether it's political or the Southern Baptist Convention, it very easily gets painted into two camps. You got this camp and this camp. But usually when you're involved in things, you just realize it's more complicated than that. I remember I was involved in local politics back in Louisville before I moved here. And you get on a whiteboard and start drawing circles of who's in what camp. And you just realize it's actually a really complicated set of concentric circles. And these people align with this person and this person, but this person only aligns with that person. Mm-hmm. I think you would be helpful here. What are the camps that you see in the SBC right now? We hear about controversy, and it very quickly gets conservative, liberal, but maybe zoom in just a little bit for us and tell us the lay of the land that you see.
I think that's an unbelievably hard question to answer. And I think some of it is case specific. Like we would talk about the lay of the land a little differently on women preachers and cooperation than we would on disclosure on abuse and legal settlements. And I don't think it's one size fits all. I think, and this is the kind of thing that we're going to really put this format to the test, because this is the kind of thing we talk about all the time. And but this is also the kind of thing that I've chosen not to say because I've wondered if it's helpful publicly, but I guess I'll violate the whole format of what we're doing here if I'm like, I don't want to answer the question.
No transparency.
Yeah. I don't want to be transparent as I answer your question, Cody.
Yeah.
So I'll just put it out there and say what I think is happening right now. I don't think mostly we're dealing with issues of liberals and conservatives. I don't think that. So I get church people coming up to me like, Southern Baptist Convention going liberal and I want us to get out of it. Or I don't want 1 red cent of my money going to the ERLC. Like, because there are a bunch of liberals over there. I hear that all the time. And I have things that I say in those conversations. But I think in the main, not exclusively, but in the main, we are not talking about a division between liberals and conservatives. I think sometimes we get mixed up on this, and people are like, well, I don't agree with you and you're a liberal, or I don't agree with you and you're a fundamentalist. I think mostly that's not the case. I think where the dividing line right now is what reality you see. That's what I think it is. I think most of the names we've talked about, with a few exceptions, are basically pretty conservative and would be on the same page. And in any event, I would want to say, hey, let's define biblical faithfulness and biblical conservatism by Bible categories, not your response to just like some debate that, hey, a procedural concern or something like that. Like, let's not just baptize people, all of our opponents, as liberals because we have a different way of approaching this than somebody else. I think the issue is, what is reality? What do you see? And so you take this transparency thing. I think the dividing line is between people who liked it the way it was and want to keep it that way, or the people who sense this is a different day. And what we need is transparency. I think the dividing line between, hey, we don't need procedural stuff about excluding women, because there's no risk that we're going to have a bunch of women preachers in the Southern Baptist Convention. The other side goes, there actually is a risk, and there's a reason we keep talking about this, and there's a reason we're going to talk about this every Southern Baptist Convention until the end of time, until we finally deal with it. And so it's, what reality are you seeing? Every conflict is something about who you're going to listen to, who's wise, and who's foolish. And so I think we're having a debate right now. I think there's a changing of the guard. I think we've gone through the children now, not just the fathers, but the children of the conservative resurgence. And now we're into a third generation, and there is a picking up of the baton. And I think the Southern Baptist Convention is not in a fight about liberal and conservative. I think we're in a fight about whose wisdom do we trust to lead us in these days. And every year we get to show up and make fresh decisions about that. And I think we're going to decide, like, hey, I think the future belongs to those who are going to be transparent. I think the future belongs to those who say, you know what, we're going to be biblically faithful and conservative, and I don't mind being honest about that. I don't mind taking votes about that and being clear that, hey, only men can be preachers. We can make a procedural vote about that. We can make a convictional statement about that. But I think the future belongs to people who are willing to say that. I think the future belongs to people that say, you know what, we are going to have to pay some legal bills. Nobody wants their money to go to legal bills, but we are going to have to do that. But we're not going to pay stupid legal bills. We're not going to listen to people who are our enemies, masquerading as our friends, who are out for our destruction when they say they want our best. I think the future is for those who want a convention that is convictional, transparent, safe, and bold. And I think if we listen to those voices at this convention and future conventions, we're going to have an awesome Southern Baptist convention in the years ahead. And if we don't, we're going to have a splintered convention in the years ahead.